Accordingly, the court accepts the plea of Mr. Cullen, and we will schedule the matter for sentencing in a manner that allows for the terms and conditions of the plea agreement to be carried out.
Charles Cullen, one of the most prolific serial killers in history, spent 16 years moving from hospital to hospital, quietly ending the lives of his patients. Why did hospitals fail to stop him despite numerous red flags? Why did it take so long to catch him? And what final mistake led to his arrest? Before uncovering his crimes, let's go back to his early years to understand what shaped him into one of the most dangerous serial killers in history. From a young age, Charles Cullen showed signs of deep mental struggles. He was born on February 22, 1960, in West Orange, New Jersey, the youngest of 8 children in a working-class Catholic family. His father died when he was 7 months old, and Cullen described his childhood as miserable, claiming that he was bullied by classmates and his sister's boyfriends. At 9, he made his first suicide attempt by drinking chemicals from a chemistry set. His mother died in a car accident when he was 17, leaving him devastated. After graduating high school, Cullen joined the U.S. Navy in 1978, serving on the submarine USS Woodrow Wilson. He struggled to fit in and was bullied by crewmates. A year into his service, he was disciplined for sitting at missile controls while wearing surgical scrubs, an inexplicable act he never explained. After multiple suicide attempts and psychiatric commitments, he received a medical discharge in 1984. Cullen then enrolled in nursing school at Mountainside Hospital in Montclair, New Jersey, graduating in 1987. That same year, he began working at St. Barnabas Medical Center and married Adrienne Baum. Even with his past, Cullen found a purpose in nursing, but instead of saving lives, he started taking them at St. Barnabas Medical Center. On June 11, 1988, Charles Cullen was working at St. Barnabas Medical Center in New Jersey. His first known victim was John W. Yengo, a judge who died after receiving a lethal dose of intravenous medication. Cullen killed several other patients at St. Barnabas Medical Center, including an AIDS patient who died after he gave them an overdose of insulin. His method of killing involved injecting patients with lethal doses of insulin, digoxin, and epinephrine, drugs that could cause fatal heart complications. He often targeted elderly or critically ill patients, making their deaths appear natural. Charles Cullen left St. Barnabas in January 1992 when hospital authorities began investigating a series of contaminated IV bags. The investigation later determined that Cullen had most likely been responsible, resulting in dozens of patient deaths at the hospital. But why wasn't Cullen arrested despite being linked to so many deaths? Because Charles Cullen was an intelligent serial killer. He used drugs like insulin and digoxin, which are difficult to trace post-mortem. These drugs either break down quickly in the body or are naturally present in certain patients. Without definitive proof, the hospital could not conclusively link the deaths to Cullen. Cullen moved on to another hospital, but the suspicion grew. People started to notice, even if no one could prove anything yet. 1 month after leaving St. Barnabas in February 1992, Cullen took a job at Warren Hospital in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where he murdered 3 elderly women with overdoses of the heart medication digoxin. One of his victims, a 91-year-old woman named Helen Dean, reportedly told her family that a sneaky male nurse had injected her while she was sleeping. However, her comments were dismissed by both family members and hospital staff. Charles Cullen left Warren Hospital in December 1993 and began working at Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington, New Jersey in January 1994. Before joining Hunterdon, Cullen claimed that he had wanted to quit nursing in 1993, but court-ordered child support payments forced him to continue working after his divorce. He then began stalking a woman who filed a police report against him. Cullen subsequently pleaded guilty to trespassing and received 1 year of probation. The day after his arrest, he made another suicide attempt. Cullen took 2 months off from work and was treated for depression. However, he attempted suicide twice more by the end of the year. In September 1993, a 91-year-old cancer patient at Warren Hospital reported that Cullen was not her assigned nurse, had entered her room and injected her with a needle. She died the next day. Her son insisted that her death was not natural, but when the hospital conducted a polygraph test on Cullen and several other nurses, he passed. In January 1994, Charles Cullen joined Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington, New Jersey. He remained there for 3 years before moving to Morristown, Memorial Hospital in 1996. He claimed that he did not harm anyone during his first 2 years at Hunterdon. However, by the time of his arrest, hospital records from that period had been destroyed. Cullen later admitted to murdering 5 patients between January and September 1996, again using overdoses of digoxin. He then found work at Morristown Memorial Hospital, but was soon fired for poor performance. After being unemployed for 6 months, he stopped making child support payments. During this time, he sought treatment for depression at Warren Hospital's emergency room and was briefly admitted to a psychiatric facility. In February 1998, Charles Cullen was hired at Liberty Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where he worked with respirator-dependent patients. He was accused of administering drugs at unscheduled times and was eventually fired after being caught entering a patient's room with syringes, an encounter that left the patient with a broken arm. Cullen killed at least 1 patient at Liberty, but another nurse was wrongly blamed. After leaving Liberty, Cullen was hired at Easton Hospital in November 1998, where he worked until March 1999. On December 30th, 1998, he murdered another patient. A coroner's blood test later revealed lethal levels of digoxin, but the hospital's internal investigation was inconclusive and failed to directly link the crime to Cullen. Despite Cullen's history of mental instability, he continued to find work. This was largely due to a nationwide nursing shortage, which made hospitals desperate to fill staffing gaps. In March 1999, Charles Cullen joined the burn unit at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest in Allentown, where he murdered 1 patient and attempted to kill another. He resigned a month later and moved to St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, working in the cardiac care unit. Over the next 3 years, he murdered at least 5 patients and attempted to kill 2 more. On January 11, 2000, Cullen attempted suicide by lighting a charcoal grill in his bathtub, hoping to die from carbon monoxide poisoning. Neighbors alerted authorities, and he was briefly hospitalized before being discharged the next day. At St. Luke's Hospital, Cullen's crimes went unnoticed until a co-worker discovered medication vials in a disposal bin, drugs with no recreational use, making the theft highly suspicious. An investigation revealed that Cullen had taken the medication. In June 2002, he was forced to resign in exchange for a neutral recommendation rather than being fired. 7 co-workers later reported their suspicions to the district attorney, but authorities never investigated Cullen's past, and the case was dropped 9 months later due to a lack of evidence. For years, Cullen stayed 1 step ahead, slipping through hospital investigations and avoiding consequences. But his final mistake at Somerset Medical Center would set off a chain of events that led to his downfall. In September 2002, Cullen joined Somerset Medical Center in New Jersey, working in the critical care unit. Around this time, he started dating a local woman, but his mental health declined. By mid-2003, he had killed at least 13 patients and attempted to kill another using digoxin, insulin, and epinephrine. On June 18, 2003, he failed to kill a patient, Philip Gregor, who was later discharged and died 6 months later of natural causes. Somerset Medical Center began suspecting Cullen when he accessed the rooms and records of patients he wasn't assigned to. The hospital's drug dispensing system showed that he requested medications his patients weren't prescribed, often canceling orders or making multiple requests in quick succession. In July 2003, the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System warned Somerset about suspicious overdoses, suggesting that an employee might be killing patients. By October, Cullen had killed at least 5 more patients and attempted to kill another. After a patient died of low blood sugar in October 2003, Somerset alerted the New Jersey State Police. This was Cullen's final victim. Investigators criticized the hospital for not reporting a non-fatal insulin overdose Cullen had administered in August. An investigation revealed past suspicions about his involvement in patient deaths. Somerset fired Cullen on October 31, 2003, for lying on his job application. Cullen's co-worker, nurse Amy Loughran, alerted police after noticing his suspicious drug access and links to patient deaths. Police placed him under surveillance and had Loughran wear a wire during conversations with Cullen. With this evidence, they gathered enough probable cause to arrest him. Charles Cullen was arrested on December 12, 2003, at a restaurant and charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. 2 days later, he confessed to homicide detectives Dan Baldwin and Tim Braun, admitting that he had murdered Floriana Gall and attempted attempted to kill Jin Kyung-han, both patients at Somerset Medical Center. Cullen shocked investigators by revealing that he had killed as many as 40 patients over his 16-year nursing career. In April 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty in a New Jersey court to killing 13 patients and attempting to kill 2 others at Somerset. As part of a plea deal, he agreed to cooperate with authorities in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. Over the next year, he pleaded guilty to more murders in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, including the deaths of 6 patients and attempted murders of 3 others in Allentown. During one court appearance, Cullen repeatedly taunted the judge, chanting, "Your Honor, you need to step down," until he was gagged with duct tape. On March 2nd, 2006, Cullen was sentenced to 18 consecutive life sentences in New Jersey, making him ineligible for parole until June 10th, 2403. He is currently held at New Jersey State Prison in Trenton. A week later, during a sentencing hearing in Pennsylvania, Cullen again disrupted the court with his chants, leading the judge to gag him once more. He received an additional 6 life sentences, bringing his total to 24 life sentences. Even today, the full extent of Charles Cullen's crimes remains a mystery. How many more lives did he take? We may never know. If you found this story chilling, don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories and unsolved mysteries. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we release a new video that dives deep into the minds of history's most notorious criminals. Share this video with others to raise awareness and ensure these forgotten victims are never forgotten again.